This is NHTV2, North Haven Government Television, a service of North Haven Community Television. The following program is brought to you through the support of the Town of North Haven.
Good evening, everyone. I'd like to call the December 12th, 2019 meeting of the North Haven Board of Education to order at 6:30 p.m. Before beginning tonight's meeting, I would like to take a moment to remember one of our students, Anthony Longley, and ask for a moment of silence in his memory. We have a moment of silence. And all of us as a board send our thoughts and condolences to Anthony's family and friends. Thank you. Number one on our board tonight is that time of year, or is the organization of the Board of Education officers by our first selectman, Mr. Michael Frieda. Mr. Frieda, I leave you the floor.
Thank you, Anita, and welcome to this December Board of Education meeting. So for those watching on TV, every 2 years after the municipal election cycle here in North Haven, North Haven's chief elected official has to go to every board and commission in town and ask for an election of officers. By charter, we do this. This is the second board that I've been at. So throughout the month of December and throughout the month of January, I'll be visiting all the boards and commissions asking for the election of officers. So the way this works, ladies and gentlemen, is that I have 3 areas of business tonight. And those areas of business are for me to ask for a chairman of this board, a chairperson, a vice chair, and a secretary. And we take them individually. Then after each selection is made, there'll be a vote. And then after the third selection is made, that is the extent of my business, and I'll leave you then to conduct the Board of Ed business. So without further ado, I'd like to ask for a nomination for the chairperson of this Board of Education. Is there a nomination? Jennifer.
I nominate Anita Anderson to be board chair.
Okay, we have a nomination. Is there a second on the nomination?
Second.
Amanda, we have a nomination and we have a second. Are there any other nominations? Is there any other discussion? Hearing none, we'll call for the vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion and nomination passes. Anita, thank you again for continuing as chair. Second order of business, ladies and gentlemen, is to ask for a nomination for vice chair of the Board of Education. Wesley.
I'd like to nominate Joseph Salamini for vice chair.
Okay. We have a nomination for Joseph. Is there a second on that nomination?
Second.
Second, Goldie. Is there, or are there any other nominations? Any other discussion? Hearing none, we'll call for that vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion and nomination passed. Joe, thank you for willing to serve as vice chairman of this Board of Education.
Thank you.
And finally, ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to ask for a nomination for the secretary of the Board of Education. Is there a nomination for secretary? Anita.
I'd like to nominate Dr. Randy Peterson
Okay.
to continue as secretary.
Okay. There is a nomination for Randy Peterson. Is there a second? Wesley. Are there any other nominations? Is there any other discussion? All right, hearing none, then we'll call for that vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. That concludes my business. And on a personal note, on behalf of the entire town of North Haven, I appreciate every single member of this Board of Education for your dedicated service to the town of North Haven and our student population. There's no question in my mind that the efforts that you put into these meetings, some of them very long, some of them may be time-consuming, but the content and the specificity of what you're developing for this education system, there's no doubt in my mind it'll help shape in a positive fashion the lives of our students and perpetuate them into hopefully a great deal of success when they matriculate into college and beyond. So thank you very much for your service. And Patrick and Pam, on a personal note, we enjoy working with both of you very much at Town Hall.
Thank you.
Thank you all. We appreciate your efforts.
Thank you.
Good evening.
Thank you, Mike. Okay, moving forward, our next action item is our consent agenda, which is our November 14th meeting, and the resignation of Karen Bosco, our grade 3 teacher at Montelouise Elementary School. May I have a motion to approve the consent agenda and the resignation of Karen Bosco?
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Any opposed? Motion passes. Tonight, our Board of Education student representatives could not join us. I believe Zoe Burns, our senior representative, had left some notes for us when she came this morning. Do you want to read them?
Sure, of course. So, Zoe reports that all looking forward to getting our college apps done, meeting with counselors before break, getting decisions back, etc. Our poinsettia fundraiser coming to a close, and everyone's looking forward to a great holiday break. Student Council is currently holding a clothing drive for the winter. The annual toy drive has started up, and National Honor Society is helping out, hoping to get lots of toys to donate to the children at Yale Hospital. Phantom of the Opera rehearsals have started and getting ready for their shows on February 27th, 28th, and March 1st. And the choral and band winter concert is coming up next Tuesday at 6:30 at the high school. Thank you, Zoe.
Thank you, Zoe. I can't wait to see that play. Okay, for myself, first of all, thank you all for electing me as chairperson again. It's a pleasure and an honor to do it. Tonight, I'd like to introduce Eleni as our new Board of Med. Remember, you're supposed to come and give the last name because I didn't spell it out phonetically here. Which I typically do, so.
So Lenny Diaco-Georgiou.
So we're really excited to have you on board. Elaine, we look forward to all working together with you. Did I have something else that I wanted to do? Welcome, Elaine. Student reps aren't there. I'll just leave it moving forward as we get ready to start budget season. In advance, I'm thanking you all for the extra time you're putting in January, so enjoy the holiday season. Ready there. Also a reminder, which Patrick continues to remind us of, is our workshop, or our board retreat on February 5th. That retreat is being held here. It's not someplace tropical.
Let's try the heat.
Yeah. So, and as we start the holiday season, I want to wish everyone a happy Christmas, happy holidays, and happy New Year. Thank you. Any unfinished business? Any new business we'd like to add to the agenda? Okay. May I go back to my designation? Joyce, can I go back? Okay. I wasn't sure. I just do want to let the board know 2 changes, and we'll continue to talk about committees. Amanda Gabriel is now going to be, along with Jen Ciccarelli and myself, will now be on the Finance Committee. Amanda will no longer be doing the PTA Council. Randy Peterson will be doing PTA Council. And as we move forward, we're going to have to look at the Policy Committee and a few other committees as we move forward. So I apologize. I meant to put that up in my report. Thank you. So now let's go back to report of standing committees. ACES?
Yes, today we met this afternoon, and it's our annual holiday recognition of the students from every school that have participated in doing holiday cards, T-shirts, mugs, and they come and with their families, and they are acknowledged, and it's really a fun time. I usually cry, but because it's so emotional to see. Everybody's applauding, and the parents are thrilled, and they're taking pictures, and it's just a wonderful experience. Then we had Patrice came and talked about legislative priorities, but before she did that, she talked about the legislators up in Hartford, and there are 3 things that are going to probably, it's a short session, but things that will probably come up. One is taking a look at a later start time for high schools, and that comes with its own set of challenges. Also talking about policies for vaccinations, with the exception of medical issues. They were also, and this is where I feel good about representing North Haven, is they're talking about school climate. And a lot of schools have been doing work on school climate. It's the implementation that they're really going to have to be addressing. And the last one was non-directed play. Yeah, which I was, the legislators first started talking about non-supervised play. And then she said, no, you want them supervised. So, and then CAVE's legislative priorities are one, again, I felt good, social emotional learning was at the top. Also removing the cap on the special education excessive cost grant. Also attracting and retaining quality educators from diverse backgrounds, and supporting or promoting cultural competency for all educators. That's what's on tap for
Sounds like our
stuff.
priority list as well.
Yeah, it really it is.
I like that.
I mean, I was just going to say, oh, good.
Have they been sitting in on our meetings?
Trendsetters.
Yeah. Okay, thank you. Curriculum instruction and planning?
We met earlier tonight, we had just a few things on our agenda. Started off with a textbook proposal from Harris Godbout, I think I said that right, for an environmental science AP class. That would be a hard copy rather than the digital suite. The teacher's name, I forget.
Mr. Proto.
Mr. Proto.
Mike.
Mike went to a presentation and decided that this was the best textbook to choose. He also decided that he also felt that we didn't need the digital suite, so at least not at this point. So we recommended that that be approved.
And we can add it on if
We can add the
desire.
digital suite
There's
on
about
if we need
25
to.
students roughly in the class, so.
And there are already funds allocated for that, I understand. Brian Hutton talked to us about two new classes. One, a half-year music technology course proposal for students that wish to take it for a half a year. It wouldn't be a performance situation. It would be a class that was open to all students, and it would be taught by Sarah Idarola. And we recommended that be, it would eventually become an L3 option. And we recommended that be passed. And as if there aren't enough guitar players in the world, he also suggested a course to bring back a course that I guess existed before in some kind of a new guise, a guitar class, which would also be a half-year course open to everybody. And we thought that was also a good idea.
Yeah, those are great.
And these half-year courses would allow other students to be able to access them, because sometimes if you sign up for the whole year, it's too constraining in your schedule. So this is just to open it up for more students.
So you would have them offered both halves of the year?
Most likely, depending on how the schedule can work,
Yeah.
but that would be
That's
the
what was
intent.
suggested.
People,
yeah.
Great.
Yeah,
that's
that's
it.
great. Thank you, Wes. Tonight, Pam, do you want to do finance and operations for us? Just give us a brief overview of our meeting.
The Finance Committee met earlier this evening, and they did take a look at the November 2019 budget report. And we did point out that due to a number of unforeseen circumstances, coupled with the fact that we are continuously estimating and hoping for the best when it comes to our state grants, particularly the excess costs that Dot just mentioned, seems to be a statewide issue. There's enough variables there that we wanted to be extremely cautious, and we did make efforts to put into effect a spending freeze on discretionary accounts at this point. We just want to make certain that we can continue to monitor our budget over the next few months and still know that we do have that small balance in those accounts to offset any problems that we may foresee in the next couple of months. And on a much more positive note, I did share with the committee that the insurance for our health insurance, self-funded, is right now running about 15% below projection for claims. Of course, it is still a little bit early in the year, but that's a good place to be at this point.
Thank you. Goldie, anything on the middle school?
No updates. The committee, I don't know if they eventually met. They were trying to meet this past Monday to sign off on invoices. That was the primary agenda item. But I'm not sure if they eventually met. I wasn't able to attend that meeting. But there wasn't anything substantive on the agenda, just to sign off on the invoices.
I'll probably want to ask, or I know Mr. John came and spoke to us 2 meetings ago, but I probably want to get an update from him for our February meeting, just to see what's open. Either he can come here, or if he puts it verbally.
In writing?
Yeah,
Okay.
I'm sorry, did I say come here?
No, that's fine.
Verbally, or he can put in writing. Just what's still open, and if we have any ideas of what funds, if any, are left, and get ideas of what's happening. So we'll just kind of would be by that time, it would be 4 months since he had been here, so it would be a good opportunity to talk about that again.
Okay.
Okay, so between Patrick and yourself to talk to him. Thank you. Joe, Education Foundation, North Haven Education Foundation.
They were scheduled to meet yesterday, but with the weather, their meeting got canceled, and it's now next Wednesday. So.
Okay. Thank you. Okay, and policy.
So policy, the policies from last month, the first read, were moved to a second read this month. And at our meeting tonight, Jen Kosnewski, our Director of Educational Informational Technology, came to visit with us to provide us some insight around some policies we're looking at around appropriate use and confidentiality and student privacy. She's quite the expert in all of that. Jen, you asked a couple questions last month, and I just wanted to provide some answers to around that. You asked how long do we hold surveillance videos?
Right.
And it depends on the building. It also depends on the amount of footage. It could be 2 weeks, it could be 30 days, depend how much we gather at each building. You also asked if we notify parents prior to an arrest at the building, and it's very situational. If it's for example, a traffic violation outside, we probably will not, but if it's something more significant, and the administration is able to notify parents prior to anything, or if it doesn't compromise the situation, they will do so.
Thank you.
And you also asked if students have access to a certain level of records if they're working in the office,
Right.
and they do not have access to records. I think that's what.
I think that's it.
Okay, good. And there are 5 policies listed for the second read, like I had said. Wes or Amanda, am I missing anything? Kind of hit everything there?
Nope.
Okay.
We didn't get that far.
No.
Right. Amanda, PTA Council.
We have not met since our last meeting. Our next meeting is this coming Monday.
Okay, can you coordinate that with Randy?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, and either you can go with her this time, or
Mhm.
she can go on her own. Okay, may I have a motion to approve the standing committee reports?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Any further discussion on any of the reports? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Next, we go to staff communication. We'll start with Mr. Stokes' report.
Sure. Thank you. Good evening, everyone. I just start the conversation talking about snow. So these past 2 snow days have been very, very difficult to call. Yesterday was extremely unpredictable. To be certain everything was going to be clear within a 2-hour delay. And when I'm assessing closures versus delays, I look at the condition of the streets, but also parking lots and walking past. But I'm in constant communication with Phil Diana starting way too early in the morning. Other area superintendents, as well as we have a superintendent weather expert that we're on conference calls with. He's wonderful. He's better than the guys on TV. And so that kind of helps us make a good decision. But ultimately, any decision that's made is to keep the students safe. End of story. So yesterday there was snow, there was freezing temperatures predicted late into 9 o'clock hour, so buses would have been on the road at that time. So and North Haven is one of those towns where it's kind of the tale of 2 towns. You have the north end where it can be snowing quite heavily, but down in the Montauk it's rain or there's nothing, and so it's different to call depending on where you are. So that all being said, I'd like to propose to the board the option of adding a 3-hour delay as to use in maybe like a situation like yesterday. It is a fairly common practice around different districts. It would put our middle and high school buses on the road at 9:30 as opposed to 8:30. And it gives Public Works, Board of Ed, the crew additional time to get everything cleared. So I just wanted to get some feedback around if you thought it's a good option.
I think it's a great option, but I just want to concern, you still may use that 2-hour.
Correct. That would not eliminate the 2 hour.
Right, I just wanted to be clear
Yeah.
on that one.
It would only be a 2 and a 3. We wouldn't add a 90-minute or, an
But
hour.
I'm saying, so it would be 2, like if you looked at it and it stopped snowing at 3 in the morning, we would maybe do a 2, but then for that.
Because some of the discussions I had with superintendents yesterday morning, they were looking at their 3-hour delay. And although ultimately many of them didn't use it, they had that option. So I would like to put that option in play for us as well.
That's a great idea.
Patrick, the third hour, is that when the buses start picking up the kids, or that's when the school actually starts?
So that's actually when the school actually starts.
When the school starts?
Mhm.
Okay, so the buses are on the road before?
Mhm.
Okay.
About an hour before.
An hour before, so it's about 8:30?
Yeah, so on a regular day, buses hit the road for high school at 6:30.
6:30, okay.
And they have the whole piece of having to clean off the buses too, so there's a lot of steps involved.
Before they hit
Ready,
the road,
yeah.
okay.
Is there any potential that adding a 3-hour delay would eliminate the need for some overtime hours?
Depends on the storm. Most of the time, they're called in around 5 a.m. to really get started. And the reason to add the 3 hours is to just give them that extra time. I don't think they'd be called in any later to do that.
And in terms of the classroom curriculum and everything, that hour will not make a difference for teachers in regards to them being able to adjust the day's program?
It gets tricky, especially when lunch is played there, and you're getting there at 11 o'clock if you're an elementary school, and lunch usually starts 11:40. So it does make it tricky. Hopefully they're few and far between.
Yeah, I mean, these rarely happen, so.
Right, but it's better, I even think with that 3-hour delay and only 3 hours of instructional time, 3 hours of instructional time at this time of year is much more concentrated than 3 hours of instructional time in June, when the makeup day would be. Because then it's the very end of the year and just not as much is happening, so it would still, I think the value is there.
Oh, 100%.
Even a shorter day now than a full day in June.
And we prioritize reading, writing, and math. That's
Yeah.
the
Okay.
things that we want to get in on those shortened days, for sure.
So to Goldie's point though, would our, like, say, take for example, elementary schools, would they have preset modified lunch schedules for a 3-hour delay like they do for a 2-hour delay? And that'll be, how long will it take us to come up with that, or do we already have it?
I don't think anyone has a 3-hour in play. It's something I have to
Okay.
talk with the administrators about.
Okay.
And they may leave it as is if their schedule fits for the rest of this year. Hopefully it's few and far between. We have to use that, and then we can plan at the beginning of next year for it.
Cool. Thanks.
Yeah, and I also, for me, when I first started, I was concerned about parents who have to work, with that 3-hour delay. I still think that delay, as it happened yesterday where it cleared up and it was really nice out, is better for them to go into work late than to take a whole day off.
Yeah.
Or, some people have somebody in the morning, somebody in the afternoon. So the way
Still
I-
allows for a half-day work
Yeah.
at least.
Yeah, I know we don't have to vote on that, but I think all of us are in agreement with that, Patrick.
Thank you. Just something else I'd like to highlight tonight. We're doing a lot of professional development work with our administrators and central office leadership team. We started over the summer working with a gentleman named Lyle Kurtman. He is a leadership development consultant who works with school districts and businesses all over the country, actually out of the country as well. And he's currently working with about 10 or so districts here in Connecticut. And he began his work over the summer having us take a workplace inventory. It's called the WPI. And this inventory asks us a lot of different questions, about 120 or so, to gauge our personalities within the workplace. And all the answers are grouped into 6 different drivers, and they fall under performance, achievement, social influence, interpersonal skills, self-adjustment, consciousness, and practical intelligence. So Lyle's working with each administrator individually, like via phone conferences with me, and we talk about how that applies to our work. So for example, in my inventory, under the self-adjustment driver, my stress tolerance is rated 99 out of 100. So that means that I keep my emotions in check even in difficult situations. But however, this can work in my favor sometimes, but sometimes it doesn't, because I tend to not match emotions of other people and they think I'm disinterested sometimes. So he brings all those kind of personality traits to light, and we talk through them, how to be a better, high-quality leader. So this is something also in the future we're potentially looking to bring to the board to participate in, as well as some of the staff. So we'll keep you posted on that.
Great.
And that's really what I have tonight.
Great, thank you. I'll see about that with my personality.
We all had a good laugh around this.
I'm Melinda McKenna, you're our Assistant Superintendent's report.
Dr. Dalai and I are working with a group of high school administrators and teachers around the new graduation requirements. I know we've talked about this over the past couple of years, that we will need for the graduating class of 2023. So these, of course, we're aligning to all of our strategic work that we're doing as a district and our vision of a graduate or our portrait of a graduate. We haven't decided exactly what we want to call it yet. And we're kind of going back and mapping. The state will define credits and what area certain courses will belong in, whether it's in humanities or STEM. It's very outlined. So it's been a lot of work that we've been doing to make sure that we're really planful about this and we have the most appropriate course offerings for students. And a second part of that is a mastery-based diploma assessment that is a requirement, and that is like a personalized learning experience that kids will have. And we will need to do some work in order to ensure that we have the right staff in place in order to support kids as they embark upon this. So in the spring, Dr. Dalai will come to CNI and then to the full board, and we'll kind of roll out some of our plans for this and what that will look like in terms of supporting students and teachers as we begin to make these changes. And then in addition to that, we've been talking about how to plan for a personal finance course for students as well that can fit into that model. So I think there's a lot of really good opportunities for kids in these graduation requirements, so I will keep bringing that forward to you. Additionally, we're at that time of year when it's going to be kindergarten registration time. So again, this year we will have the registration online through our portal, and all of that will be open in January for parents, and I'll keep reminding them. We'll do some press releases and some notifications home. And lastly, our North Haven High School mixed choir, One Voice, which our Zoe is in, has been selected as a showcase performance ensemble at this year's Connecticut Music Education Association. So this is like a really big honor. Brian actually was with us in CNI, and he was telling us that they will have the opportunity to perform in front of, a huge audience, but that audience will include judges from national and international areas. So it's really a wonderful opportunity.
When is that?
I don't know. They didn't give us the date, so I'm not certain yet. But
Is it at the regionals competition, or is it separate from that?
I think it's separate, because I remember we had some conversation about transportation and transportation costs. So I believe it's separate. But we can ask Zoe for sure at our next meeting, and she can give us all the details. They just were notified today, actually, so they were really excited. It's really great.
And going back to what a graduate looks like, I think putting in a personal finance class for our students is definitely something that we need to do. You see it, so many, I'm sure, with many parents whose kids go to college that first year or out in the work world that first year. Just organization.
That's right.
Would be great, so that's a great idea.
Anita, would you mind if I added something else really positive that I forgot to add in my report?
Yeah.
The other day, we were notified that North Haven High School was named to the College Board's 10th Annual Advanced Placement District Honor Roll.
Nice.
There's 250 schools between the U.S. and Canada that are recognized, and we were one of them, for increasing access to AP courses, as well as the percentage of students scoring at a level 3 or higher. So we were one of 7 Connecticut school districts.
Yeah, that's fantastic.
Yeah.
Really good news.
And then we were recently 29th for something. Amanda?
On Niche's best school districts in Connecticut.
Yeah, number 29.
We are definitely punching above our weight within our district reference group there. Like, that's, proud of that.
Districts we have like that.
160.
169.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So, we're up there.
Really good. Thank you.
Can I ask a quick question to Melinda? For the kindergarten registration, you said you're going to send out press releases and notices.
The schools will communicate with families where they know they have siblings and kind of get the word out neighborhood-wise, so.
Are we posting anything on social media for that too?
We can do that, and Jen sends out a bunch of blasts and stuff, but yes, it's a great idea.
I'll put it on my page too.
Yep.
Thank you.
I don't think I've ever said that phrase in my life. But
Okay, Jen.
Okay,
Director of Student Services Report.
so we had our second social emotional learning committee meeting this past month, and it's a mix of staff. There's a few parents. Randy could not be part of it because of her work schedule, but I sent her notes, and administrators. And what we noticed is that the social emotional learning, we came to a conclusion, needs to start pre-K to kindergarten and keep going up throughout the grades. Just having regular ed teachers there present, they say in elementary school, it's easier to fit into the day, whereas middle and high school, the academic demand gets so much bigger and there's less time. So we're trying to really, piece that out to how we can continue the social emotional piece as they get older, because we're finding that's where they really need it. So we're gonna meet, I'm gonna probably say February again. Something else that got brought up when we were talking is starting like SRBI for social emotional learning, and really looking at it like we do it for academics and behavior, but maybe for social emotional learning and what that would look like. And then I confirmed some nights that we're gonna have for special ed. So we're gonna do the pre-K to kindergarten. Transition night is gonna be February 6th at Green Acres, and it's gonna be for our open to our special ed preschool parents. And so for that night, I invited kindergarten teachers in the district, regular ed, and the staff at Green Acres, whoever would like to volunteer to be part of that night. We're gonna do a 5th to 6th transition night, like you mentioned last time. So that's May 7th, and I opened that out to regular ed teachers, 5th and 6th at elementary and middle, and then staff as well. And then we have our transition college night, March 3rd. So far we have Southern, Johnson and Wales, Porter and Chester, and Mitchell College coming. And then we're waiting on Gateway, Fairfield U, Western, Eastern, Albertus, and Quinnipiac. So hopefully I'll have more of an update on that one. And then I have one more night. The parents through the survey wanted information about IEP verse 504, so that's going to be at the end of April. That's all I have tonight.
I'd like to come to that myself.
Okay, I'll send an invite.
I would like, because
Yeah.
often I hear us talking about IEPs and 504s, and being a non-academic teacher, I don't know, so I'd like to come to that.
Or I can always do it through a board meeting in April if you want.
Yeah,
It's
that
up
might
to
be
you.
a good idea,
Okay,
too.
that's no problem.
That's probably a good idea.
Okay.
To give for the rest of us. Thank you,
Okay,
Jen.
you're welcome.
Quick question, March 3rd, is that just for seniors in high
I'm
school?
gonna
Like,
open up
anybody?
to
Everybody?
everybody in high school. Mhm.
Pam, did you have anything else you wanted
Just
to add?
a couple of things I was going to mention briefly. It's the time of year where the business office is working in 3 different fiscal years. We're closing out 18-19. We did just finish up with the auditors last week. I'm happy to say that the EFS report had minor, I think 1 or 2 very minor revisions. Patrick will be certifying that, and we will be done way ahead of our December 31st deadline. We are, of course, continue to monitor the current budget year, 1920, as I reported previously. And of course, we have begun developing the 2021, which doesn't even sound right to me. It's going to be 2020. But we are looking forward to putting it together and presenting it to the board on January 9th. That's about it.
2020, I made a joke about having perfect vision next year.
That's a good one.
Like, I said something like, finally in my life, I'm gonna see clearly. I forget what I said, it's pretty funny. I'm sure there'll be a lot of jokes coming out on that. Public comment, do we have any public comment tonight?
I have a couple questions. Sorry, Jen, you just mentioned.
I'm sorry, I have to ask if you name and address.
Oh,
I know
sorry.
you know it, but
Kim Broncohen, 55 Tokenique Drive. The 5-6 transition night, when is that?
May 7th.
Okay. And that's one location, or is it each school?
Nope, it's actually gonna be at the middle school. And I'll send out information as we get closer.
Okay, great, thanks.
You're welcome.
And then, Pam, you mentioned that you're 15% lower than anticipated in the budget for health claims. What happens to that money? Do you, two questions, two parts here. One is the same amount allocated each budget year, each fiscal year. And then what happens to that money?
Okay, first of all, there is no money at the moment because it's only October claims, and that will change throughout the year. So it's the trend that's 15% below right now. So we will watch it carefully. For example, last year, it stayed pretty much around 10% below, but we are self-insured. So it goes into a trust fund, and that money will accumulate because you will inevitably, when you're self-insured, have those years where you are not trending well, and we are solely responsible. And yes, it does go up every single year because it's based on a renewal from our insurance companies for the cost of insurance.
Okay, so it's offset by what is always there. You have a bank for
Correct.
it.
Not so much the balance, no. We have to continue to contribute the set amount as recommended by our insurance brokers.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you, Kim. Anyone else? Okay. Then any future agenda items that anyone would like us to bring up? Okay. Then may I have a motion to enter into executive session to discuss the performance of the North Haven High School varsity girls soccer coach and to invite Superintendent Patrick Dirk into this session?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor? Okay. May I have a motion to adjourn the December 12th, 2019 Board of Education meeting?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Nay.
Wishing you all a very happy holiday.
The preceding program is brought to you in part through a grant from the town of North Haven. Watch town meetings or other videos on demand at nhtv.com.